If you don't have Queen, use Vino instead. So I read the title, I'll be using Vino as a DPS with this team. So we're just gonna start with Vino immediately. I'm not gonna explain the boss again because I already done SOS video on the boss. But the reason why Vino can be used as a DPS is because of the 2 times nuclear score. Sadly, this 2 times only applies to Vino. So Wanda's Bishop Mountain damage will not be multiplied by 2, unfortunately. But anyways, Vino is gonna use skill 1, skill 3 and highlight to do damage, get the points, as well as the debuff, which can help herself also. Then the Revelation card, I gave her the Truth Harmony, gave her a bit more offensive stuff. The cards I'll be giving her the attack, give her some crit rate, PS rate, whatever, to boost her damage. And then the star one has to be Human Accuracy, of course, because she still needs to debuff, right? The weapon is the 4-star weapon for the attack and debuff. Here's the stat screen. Now let's move on to the character that you don't get to see every day, Riddle, but specifically A2 Riddle. Why did I use her? Because I have nobody else to use. Because I really actually don't have anyone to use. Dion I already use on the other side. The next best character is probably Marion, but I don't really want to use her. A1 PS rate is good and all, but we already have a bunch of defense debuffs, so I don't really want to use her. And then of course I'm not going to use Tomoko. Tomoko is just not good. So the next best option, the only option left is Riddle. And apparently A2 Riddle is actually pretty good. It's not bad. So her A1 is that when every time an ally attacks, she gets an attack buff that stacks up to 3 times. And then when she gets 2 attack buff, she will buff the team's damage for 1 turn. That is already not bad, right? But A2 increases the chance of getting the Childish Heart, which we'll get to later. This is quite good because the initial percentage is 40, only now is 60. And the more important part is when you use skill 3, at maximum number of Childish Heart stacks, we increase crit damage for 2 turns. Crit damage and also attack, but more importantly, crit damage. That is huge. Now to explain how she works, because I think it's probably like the 2nd or 3rd time I use her in the video, so let me just explain it. And I think a lot of you probably don't even know what she does, because her kit is actually really difficult to use, and her kit is actually very flawed. So basically how she works is that you use skill 1, you will give affection to the party, and what this affection does is that whenever an ally attacks an opponent, she will get 1 stack of Childish Heart, and then another 40% chance from her A0. No, not A0. Here, this one, the passive. 40% chance. So with A1 it's going to be 60%. Then that stack is called the Childish Heart stack. Then the Childish Heart stack is also connected to another stack called the Mystery stack. So she has 2 different stacks. So the Mystery stack and the Childish Heart stack is like the same thing, but one is used for skill, the other, which is the Mystery stack, is used for the highlight. So she will consume Childish Heart stack when she uses skill 3, and she will consume Mystery stacks when she uses highlight. You can stack up to 5 times, and it's a must for A2 Riddle to stack 5 times because of A2, because of this crit damage thing. And how do you do that? You have to attack with your allies, which is a big problem, which is a big flaw of Riddle. Our teammates need to be somebody who attacks. You cannot bring like a bunch of buffers, because buffing will not increase your stack, and then you cannot reach the max stack, and then if you cannot reach the max stack, you cannot activate the damage buff. You cannot highlight for the maximum potential also, because you need 5 stacks to activate the full damage buff. But I discovered something very interesting, which I'll get to when we talk about Soy, which is the next teammate. But for her cards, I gave her the Trust Prosperity, because it's 6 turns, we need 4 highlights. And her 4-star weapon, which is more attack. She scales attack, so then this is her stat screen. Soy is very important here, not only to debuff skill 2 and gun, but the very interesting thing is that the gun actually triggers more affection, more Childish Heart stack, because every time you shoot a gun, I think she shoots like 6 bullets, right? And I think each bullet counts as a roll, a percentage roll. So 60% chance for each of the 6 bullets. So with one gun, you can actually get up to 5 stacks with Riddle. What that means is that we need to use his gun once every other turn. Every time Riddle uses skill 1, we have to use gun, so we can get to 5 stacks, which is going to be a luck base, because not only do you not need to conserve your gun, because you need to use it 3 times, right? You also need to debuff every single time, so that your gun debuff will have a 100% uptime. So this fight is actually going to be quite RNG. So that means we're not going to use skill 3. So there comes another part of the RNG. You need to tank without skill 3 for the highlight. So the Revelation card, Control Departure for the debuff, and 4-star weapon to tank more. Ideally, you want the boss to use Goofy Dino and Soy, of course, so you can protect everyone else. Then we have the stat screen for the weapon. Use the Ex Machina knife, and then put the nuclear persona like Bishop Mountain on at the front. Increase Vino's damage. Now for persona we have Bishop Mountain. He is there for this one only, the signature move. And the somewhat annoying thing is that this boss's gimmick is the Azure Scales, right? So it means that ideally I want to use this move every single turn to remove the stacks, but that's not possible because we also need to buff Vino. It's so pointless to use every turn, right? Because the buff lasts for 2 turns. This passive thing also lasts for 2 turns, which is when you attack, you would increase the nuclear damage the opponents will take for 2 turns, depending on the number of elemental ailment on the opponent. So it kind of sucks that we don't have any nuclear personas that can debuff, so we cannot really remove the stacks. So I think Vino's damage can potentially be higher if we have better personas. And on Sig there is just for the attack stat. We're not gonna use him. Then we have Dionysus, Rebellion and Revolution to buff the crit damage from the passive. And then the turn order, we are 1, 2, 3, 4. DPS of course, Vino at the last, Riddle at the first, so that we can be in sync with the gun and skill 1. So for this fight, I will be only commentating over the battle, because this fight is quite RNG. It took quite a few attempts to get like almost a perfect run. So let's begin. So the first turn, we skill 1 with Riddle. And one that is going to Rebellion using Dionysus. Then Soy is going to use gun. So look at this. Riddle has no stacks right now, right? And then Soy uses the gun. Just once. Gets up to 4 stacks of the Childish Heart. And we also got a debuff, which is the ideal case. So we can actually just stop here, because we want to save a gun for the future turns, because we're going to gun 2 more times. So this fight is quite RNG. Then just pray for no freeze. Thankfully no freeze on Wonder or Vino, which is very ideal, because Wonder will actually do some damage with Bishop Wanted. Then Riddle is gonna skill 3 here. So we have 5 stacks of this Childish Heart thing, so her skill 3 is gonna buff crit damage as well, which is huge. Then we Vino highlight to do some damage. And also break one of the Azure skills. We still have 1 more skills. Then we Revolution with Dionysus to further buff the crit and crit damage. Then we skill 2. We have Desperado also, so this will debuff a lot. And Vino is gonna skill 3 here. 52k, which is 100k in points, which is a lot. Riddle is gonna skill 1, so Riddle just skill 1, skill 3, keep rotating. Then Wonder, going to Bishop Mountain Imperial Purge. This will remove the stack. And they also did quite a lot of damage. So removing the stack is good here, because this turn we're gonna do a lot of damage. A lot of damage. Then we gun until we reach 4 or 5 and debuff, which we got. It was too fast. Oh, okay, I got it once already, but I still wanted to gun again, because we have to make sure we have 5 this time. It's unlike the first turn. The first turn we can only have 4. If Vino can use skill to get to 5. The reason why we want to get to 5 here is because on the very next action, we are going to use Riddle's highlight. And Riddle's highlight has the same stack pretty much as the Childish Heart stack. So using a highlight will get us the damage buff. Look at the damage of this. 97k, 104k from Vino. So that's 200k points. This is not something you see every day. It's actually quite insane. And this is very ideal attacking Soy, because Soy is our tankiest member and also gives us the Desperado. So we can skill 2 and debuff more. Then okay, we're gonna skill 3 again, because we wanna have skill 3, skill 1 active on last turn, because it's our most damaging turn on the last turn. So we wanna set up for that. And we can skill 3 again. We are max stacks, so we can also buff the crit damage here. So A2 Riddle, surprisingly good. I think I might have to consider using her more often. Not as a free-to-play guide, because, you know, not many people will have Riddle at A2. Hopefully. I'll smash it with Desperado. That's a lot of debuff. And skill 3. Look at how much this does. 55k, decent. So the only annoying part is that every turn, because it gets back the Azure skills every turn, and Vino is sometimes the only one who attacks. So Vino removes the skill herself, which is kinda bad, because the boss still has the scales, then you remove the scale, so the defense, so you're still gonna do less damage basically. So like I said previously, if Vino has if we have better nuclear personas, then this she will do more damage. Then we're gonna highlight with Special Mountain. The main purpose of this highlight is not only to do damage, but to remove the scale. So the Vino is gonna do more damage. Because the scale will, removing the scale will increase our damage and decrease the boss's defense. Then we'll Revolution here to buff crit damage, crit rate. Then we just spam every gun, or the gun. Because it's the last time we use the gun. And make sure you just debuff and get to at least 4 stacks of the Childish Heart. 66k. Very nice. Then the boss is just gonna use Mataro Kaja. In the last turn, we can skill 1 with Okian. Then you can skill 3 with Riddle. This will also buff crit damage because you are max 5 stacks. Then Wonder is gonna use Bishop Mountain. This will do damage, debuff, and remove the scales. Very important to remove the scales on this last turn because we're gonna highlight. Here Vino to do big damage. And DK, good damage. Which is 180,000 points, and then we skill 3, the last bit of damage. 84k. So go on 1.5 million with Vino, which is higher than my flow rate. So that's really nice. And because of this team, I got to 43% in the SOS, which is what I want. I want to get to top 50% so I can rank up. So hopefully I will stay within the top 50%.